In this podcast episode, James Dumoulin shares his journey from starting a content creation channel as a teenager to building a thriving media business, interviewing billionaires and industry leaders. The conversation explores key themes such as perseverance, long-term thinking, mentorship, balancing business with faith, and creating authentic wealth. James also reflects on the challenges of success, mental health, and leadership wisdom gleaned from interacting with some of the world's most influential people. James began his entrepreneurial journey at 18 with a passion for organic content creation, leveraging platforms like TikTok and Instagram before fully understanding the business potential behind it. Growing up in a military family and exposed to diverse cultures, he naturally aimed for more than a conventional government job standard in his DC area community. Early successes in viral content led to monetization through ad revenue and brand partnerships, but James quickly learned the importance of reinvesting profits and focusing deeply on one thing to build mastery and avoid burnout. His approach involved relentless positivity, rapid content delivery, and a dedication to authentic connection. Starting from cold outreach, James gradually gained access to billionaires and high-profile celebrities by building credibility through consistent valuable content and relationships. He noted the shift from initial rejections to inbound opportunities as trust in his brand grew. Crucial to this was his mastery of attention, offering value by shining a spotlight on entrepreneurs too busy to create their own content. James emphasizes that successful networking requires having something valuable to offer and maintaining integrity with teams and collaborators over time. A recurrent lesson from interviewing billionaires is the emphasis on thinking in decades rather than chasing overnight success. James shares insights from Reid Hoffman, founder of LinkedIn, who underscored never playing a one-year game but instead adopting a 10-year vision. This long-term mindset helps avoid burnout and encourages patience and persistence. James himself follows this philosophy, reinvesting most profits back into his ventures, staying lean, and focusing on building a strong foundation before scaling aggressively. James advises entrepreneurs to stay small enough, long enough to build sustainable growth. Drawing from personal experience when his business faced demonetization, he credits careful reinvestment and focus for survival and growth. He warns against chasing diversification too early or superficial status symbols, urging creators and entrepreneurs to resist pressures to overextend or live beyond their means, especially in a culture that glamorizes displays of wealth that may not be backed by financial health. A significant part of the discussion revolves around managing ego and leading with humility. James stresses the importance of self-reflection and taking responsibility for conflicts rather than blaming others. In business and relationships, setting expectations clearly, having healthy disagreements, and respecting team members are fundamental. He acknowledges the emotional challenges of leadership, including frustration when kindness is met with abandonment, but views these as part of personal growth and learning. Faith and spiritual grounding emerge as a central theme, providing James with peace beyond material success. He shares his view that wealth and fame are transient, while an eternal relationship with God offers purpose and mental stability. Like many successful individuals he has interviewed, James prioritizes faith, seeing it as intertwined with mental and physical health. The episode explores how spiritual health can anchor a person amidst business pressures, encourage gratitude, and foster humility. James encourages having a board of advisors for different aspects of life, business, health, and spirituality, while emphasizing that the ultimate source of wisdom is God. He advises vetting mentors by credibility, track record, and how they treat their teams, endorsing servant leadership at all levels. James also highlights the importance of staying open to learning from everyone, regardless of their status, rejecting the idea that advice should only come from those you'd trade places with. This openness allows for continual growth and insight. The demands of content creation and entrepreneurship bring unique mental health struggles. James admits to being deeply invested in the performance of his work, sometimes obsessing over view counts and engagement. He underscores the necessity of setting boundaries, practicing delegation, with editing as a rare exception, and making time for family and close friends. Learning from others who maintain balance, especially valuing family relationships, serves as a model to prevent losing oneself in work. Both hosts reflect on their upbringing and family values around money, emphasizing humility and viewing wealth as a tool rather than an end. They critique culture's fixation on outward symbols like expensive shoes or watches and warn against over-leveraging and debt. James shares personal anecdotes about growing his business leanly, paying himself modestly despite scaling revenues, and avoiding the trap of trying to impress others. The discussion touches on the spiritual dangers inherent in desires for gold, glory, and women, highlighting gratitude as a safeguard. James believes in the significant impact of how people speak about themselves and their businesses, tying this to mindset and eventual outcomes. Speaking positively and pushing relentless optimism not only shapes internal beliefs, but also influences others' perceptions and creates momentum. This principle aligns with biblical teachings encouraging faith-filled speech and removing negativity from self-talk. The conversation recognizes the importance of balancing manifestation, prayer, and humility before God in hopes and pursuits. James recounts some of his favorite conversations, including Will Smith's advice to only take counsel from those whose lives you wouldn't mind trading with, a poignant caution about humility and vulnerability. Another memorable moment was with a Goodyear executive who shared a metaphor about trusting one's own wings rather than external supports. A third, highlighted interview was with Tony Stevens, who physically illustrated the finite nature of life using a ribbon, urging viewers to live their dreams fully and intentionally. These stories underscore the practical wisdom James draws from diverse encounters. Throughout the episode, a balanced tension emerges between ambition and spiritual submission. James stresses putting God at the center of all pursuits while actively building businesses and relationships. He reflects on how faith fosters peace amid uncertainty and reminds him that legacy and earthly achievements are temporary. The dialogue recognizes the value of building for the future while staying grounded in eternal truths and encourages listeners to cultivate a healthy relationship with God alongside entrepreneurial goals.